far away from Jorja Smith, put your phone away and just enjoy the moment.
Wanna get with me with no money, oh no, I don't want.
Beautiful. Could not have planned that better. And Kia ora and welcome. My name is Zoe Stevie and I am your vocal coach for today because we are going to be taking a look at none other than Jorja Smith with a cover of No Scrubs. Now, I chose this song because I love the way that Jorja makes such beautiful vocal technique seem not only really easy, but she incorporates her own style into this really, really famous song and makes the cover her own. She seems so cool, calm, and collected. Yes, I have seen it many, many times, but I use this as a reference in my studio for how you can make a song your own. So let's take a look at how Jorja Smith is using her vocal technique for No Scrubs.
Scrub is a guy that thinks he's fine, but also known as a buster. Always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. Oh no, I don't want your number, no.
Gosh, she's just such an amazing singer. Firstly, this like puffy thing that you can see over top of the microphone, that's called a, my mind just went blank in that moment. Pop filter. I couldn't think of the word. I was going to say spit protector. Well, it is kind of. It's called a pop filter. It's to save it from the little puffs of air that come out from when we say P's and T's. It's also going to be blocking out a little bit of the sound that's coming from, say, that acoustic piano and the guitar as well. So we've got this like chest voice. The scrub is a guy that thinks he's blind. And she's got her teeth quite closed. And I think that's what's giving it that like almost like tense sound. Let's just go back on that.
Scrub is a guy that thinks he's fine, but also known as a buster. Always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. Oh.
You go, sits on his broke ass. And then she opens up for the S. So a scrub is a girl that thinks he's blind. So we're getting that feeling from the fact that she's got her teeth quite close together. And again, I'm not poo-pooing Jorja's vocal technique. She's an absolutely amazing singer. I'm just saying in order to create these sounds, this is what you would need to do.
I don't want your number, no. I don't want to give you mine, and no. I don't want to meet you, no, and no. I don't want none of your time.
There we go. So we got, I don't want your number, no. I could sing this. I love this song, and I just love her version of it. So we've got this little bit of the vocal fry or slack vocal folds before she's starting this. I don't want your number, no. And she's kind of using that in order to create that little bit of that feeling of, this is really, really difficult for me in this moment. And also that like, oh, I don't really give a shit kind of feel for the song. But she's keeping the volume very, very low. And that's so imperative when we're talking about this type of vocal quality and bringing in that slack. Volume must stay low.
I don't want to give you mine, and no. I don't want to meet you, no, and no. I don't want none of your time.
You go, I don't want none of your time. So that was just a bit of a delay in the vocal fold contact there. I don't necessarily think that she thinks like right there is where I want to put in a bit of breath. I think she's actually going for this like, I don't want none of your time. And she's doing that more of that cry, and she's accessing the feelings, because really, if we're accessing the feelings of the sound, the larynx is going to follow suit.
I don't want no scrub, but scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. I don't want no scrub, but scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. Trying to holler at me.
You know what? If you're in a situation where you're that far away from Jorja Smith, put your phone away and just enjoy the moment. Drives me batty. You got this YouTube video. Why do you need to film it as well? Probably for Instagram or some shit. Anyway, So we got this. I don't wanna scrub musicality can get no. We're seeing quite a closed mouth shape there. Again, very, very low volume, but we're getting that little bit of that cry going on there. And I love that. I love that she always stays true to her proper accent. She's not trying to put on that American accent.
Side of his best friend's right, trying to holler at me. I don't want no scrub, but scrub is a guy that can't get no love from.
That can't get no love from me. Yeah, so we've got that coming in there. Now, I think a lot of singers, when they're singing stuff like that, it's like, oh, Zoe, how do I get all that scratch in there? Low volume, and there's actually no constriction in here. What I'm hearing there is pretty much is just slack vocal folds. No from me. And it's always used far less than we think. Really pay attention to where those little catches are coming in from the vocal folds. And that's essentially the vocal folds are losing their tension and going, it's not actually constriction. But what we're getting at the end of the phrase, we're getting a little bit of a tightening of the throat.
Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me.
Can you hear that? Trying to holler at me. Yeah, and I'm not trying to make fun of her, and I'm actually not even trying to create that sound. This is not how I sing. This is how Jorja Smith sings, and it's beautiful. We've got a little bit of that. Trying to holler at me. A little bit of tension probably going on at the back of the tongue, a little bit of tightening at the top of the throat. We don't want to overdo that though, and you're seeing this really clearly. She's very close to the microphone, which means that she does not have to be loud. I'm not probably going to repeat that a couple of times. I see this so often in the studio with singers. They just sing this stuff too loud. The microphone is an extension of our instrument as singers, but this is something that really needs to be looked at on like a case-by-case basis. I can't just tell all of you to like sing quiet, because some people do actually need to sing louder. So if you are interested in improving your vocal technique and you want like step-by-step help for these things, to go like, Zoe, I really need you to tell me exactly what I need to do, and not just like random blanket information, then you can apply for my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, in the description below.
Trying to holler at me. Well, that scrub is shaking me, and his game is kind of weak, and I know that he cannot approach me, cause I'm looking like class and he's looking like trash. Come get with no deadbeat ass. Oh no, I don't want your number. No, I don't wanna.
And I like that she's now opening up because she's getting a little bit louder. No, I don't want your number, no. And we're sort of seeing as well that mouth shape opening up. We're getting this a little. Can you hear the sound is a little bit different in the second verse? She's pulling around the melody, and I like that, making it her own.
Trying to holler at me. Well, that scrub is shaking me, and his game is kind of weak, and I know that he cannot approach me, cause I'm looking like class and he's looking like trash. Come get with no deadbeat ass. Oh no, I don't want your number. No, I don't wanna give you mine, and no, I don't wanna meet you. No, and no.
I love it. So no, I don't want your number, no. And we're hearing, like, actually you can hear that sort of feeling is actually, I think, a little bit of the back of the soft palate coming down, and a tensing of those upper pharyngeal constrictor muscles. And these are the muscles that are involved in swallowing. And so when we make that sound, and again, not making fun of, I'm just saying this, was the scrum is coming in and it's coming kind of deep, but a dad and he cannot approach me. And so we've got that that he cannot approach me. It makes the sound a little bit brighter. First, we just have to point out that, like, look at this beautiful posture as well, because we've got this like really tall sitting. You know, she's sitting up really, really tall on the chair, and that's also going to really help us to be able to engage those muscles that we need in the back and in the stomach in order to pressurize the sound when we need it and to breathe evenly. But I think that Jorja's such a, she's such a highly trained singer, and this might not be, I actually have no idea where she's trained, but for a singer that's been doing what she's been doing for a long period of time, that is still training, whether she's had formal lessons or not. This is training. This is always going back, what worked, what didn't work, what can I change? That is training. So with her amount of experience and training, she's probably not thinking too much about the posture. She probably would have done all of the work in the practice. And this song sits quite comfortably in most female voice ranges. So you can kind of like play around with those lovely thick vocal folds there.
I give you mine and no, I don't wanna meet you, no, and no, I don't want none of your time. I don't want no scrub is the guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. I don't want no scrub is the guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me.
And you can see there's, I mean, look, I'm not, again, not saying about anything about her lips other than the fact that the way in which she's trying to holler at me, bringing the lips forward a little bit slightly, or actually not engaging the spread, is also going to help that sound remain a little bit darker rather than going, trying to holler at me. As soon as I spread my lips acoustically, that sound is going to be brighter. And when we go, trying to holler at me, nothing changed except the position of my lips. And we cannot forget that the lips play a huge role in the acoustic outcome of our sound. I wanted to have a little look at her breathing as well, because like, just watch the way and the patterns in which she's breathing here. I've got to keep an eye on the time because I'm recording today between singing lessons for the academy.
Love from me, hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. Trying to holler at me.
That was a perfect example. She went, trying to holler at me. She almost did like and bringing the jaw almost forward in that part to create that sort of like sulky sort of sound. And then she goes, trying to holler at me. We had that timbre change. Beautiful. Could not have planned that better, and I did not remember that she did that in the song. Let's watch her breathing.
If you don't have a car and you're walking, oh yes, I'm talking to you. If you live at home with your mother, oh yeah, I'm talking to you. If you have a joy and you don't show love, oh yes, I'm talking to you. Wanna get with me with no money, oh no, I don't want no scrub.
Let's go to the beginning of that because she kind of that sadness. Did you see that? You have a car, but you're walking on your son. I'm talking to you. We need to make sure that we are using those different parts of the face in order to create the sound. What she did there, she dropped the larynx, thinner vocals, have a car, probably drop the soft palate as well. And you don't, oh, yes, son, I'm talking to you. And then she tightened the back of the throat. So we've got these completely different sounds going on there and completely different feelings. And that's not a bad thing, okay? If we feel something in the throat, that's absolutely fine. It's never, actually, I want to tell you this, PSA, it shouldn't be consistent, okay? Singing is about, you actually, in this sort of style of singing, we don't want it to be consistent, okay? That's so fucking boring if it's a consistent sound. Like, let's leave that to the musical theater, let's leave that to the classical singing. Not saying that those are boring, it's just that the consistency of sound is over there, and if we're looking at this sort of stuff, then we're looking at inconsistency of sound, and that's about changing the lip position, the mouth position, what's the tongue doing, changing these different sounds. And that's what Jorja's doing so beautifully. Right, I'm getting off my soapbox now. Let's look at her breathing.
If you live at home with your mother, oh yeah, I'm talking to you. If you have a joy and you don't show love, oh yes, I'm talking to you. Wanna get with me with no money, oh no, I don't want no scrub, no.
Can you hear that? So firstly, an audible breath is not a bad thing. I think that microphone is turned up quite high because she's singing quite low. That's why we're hearing that. Usually, my jaw went to the side. Usually an audible breath would signal that there is actually a tightening going on in the throat. And that would just be depending on whether you wanted the audible breath or not, but it's not a bad thing, and especially not bad in pop music. So we've got these little If you want me short, but don't show. Oh, yes, son. Actually, that was the bit we didn't see. But anyway, whatever. She's doing these throughout the whole song, little short, high breaths. Now, usually when we're breathing for life, okay, like when I'm walking down the road and ordering a pretzel or whatever, it's called tidal breathing. So we don't really think about it. We never really go below the point of resting inspiration or resting expiration. What are the two? There's like a line, like a magical line, okay? And we kind of like dip in and out of it. But we're never really breathing in a lot, and we're never really breathing out a lot. Like if I was to really breathe to the end of my breath supply, then I would need to go further than what is comfortable, which is what I'm trying to do now to show you what that feels like, and then what ends up happening to the voice when we go right to the end of the breath. But I don't really have a hell of a lot more to say. And then I would go. So that would sound odd. And firstly, there came a point where it also was like the sound started to become quite squeezed. Now, this is what we want to override when we are singing, because often we do go right to the end of the breath for some musical styles, not for this one, not for this song. So these short little breaths, we're actually breathing, or she's breathing, and you should be breathing in this song, like you are going to the supermarket and ordering like, oh, I'll have 2 pretzels, please. Or, oh, can I please have a chewing gum? One of this, or just like having a conversation with a friend. So when you're practicing this and you're struggling with your breath, I want you to think about breathing a little bit more, just like a normal human being, and not trying to go, because that's actually just not even, that will not serve you for the song, and it will actually hinder you. Actually, if you breathe like that, there is not one way to breathe for singing. That was actually a workshop that we did the other day in the Vocal Academy, was at how do you breathe for the different styles of singing? Because it's very different, and it depending what you are trying to do and what sound you are going for. There is not like one rule to rule them all. That needs to be looked at on a one-to-one basis, though, because it's very different depending on whether you're a dancer, you work out. Like, it's dependent on your own body and what you're looking for. So if you are looking for help on specifically your breathing technique and how you can work on that, you can apply for the Vocal Academy down in the description below. Okay, she did so much. She's right in the last note. We're gonna watch that again. So, okay, scrubs. So she's gone into a falsetto. And she widened the mouth because it's going to help us to brighten the sound. I don't want no. Low, 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 low. Low breath flow, actually. Low volume. Yeah? I don't want no. It's because the vocal folds are stiff, and that's what creates that kind of hooty quality to the sound. And she's allowing that from that thicker vocal fold into that falsetto quality. And that's just a really, it's just beautiful. It's lovely. I love the color. No scrubs, no scrubs, no scrubs, no scrubs. So you can hear that when she says mercy at the end, the way that she sang was actually quite different to the way that she speaks. And that's absolutely fine. When we're talking about someone's true voice, we're talking about what is the voice that you're looking for that represents you as a singer, and you feel you identify as like, I like this sound, and this sounds like I want to sound. That's all we're really after. And so then we can also hear with the merci, she had no tension on at the back of the throat, which makes us then go, nah. When she was doing that sound, there was quite a bit of tightening going on at the back of the throat there, which again is fine. If that's the sound that she's looking for, I mean, it was stunning. She's stunning. The sound is beautiful, whatever. But it really comes down to like, what do you want? What do you like? But sometimes you get to these places and you're like, Zoe, well, I don't really fucking know what I want. And it's like, that's absolutely fine. what we do in vocal lessons is we go, okay, so here is the full list of colors that you can make. We'll show you how to make all of them. And what it is really about is developing your taste over time. Don't think you have to have these things really locked and loaded. This is something that you do through, we choose the right songs for you. We help you to choose some repertoire. We suggest some things. That's what we're here to do, because as vocal teachers, we've got all of these songs in our head and all of this knowledge, and we're going to help you get that right. My next student has just knocked on the door, so I've got to go check out some more music up here. And just remember, anyone can learn to sing. I'm here to help you do it. Have an awesome rest of the day. Happy singing. Ka kite anō.